screen.
Okay, okay. Okay, already ya.
Okay. So hi guys, hi Britzoners. How are you?
Hi.
Hai.
I hope you're doing fine, yeah. So before we
Hello.
our exciting class, I need to give you some little announcements in order to warm things up before we enjoy this exciting class. Okay, so as you may know that Britzone is Jakarta's free learners community. I'm sorry guys, I think you need to unmute yourself because we'll uh, disrupt the class. So if you have nothing to do to say or anything like that, you can. Thank you so much. Okay, let me carry on. So these are the value of Bridzones. We are community that focus on education, and then we also focus on the improving the English, and then we are volunteer. We do this voluntarily, and then this is Britzone is an open platform, and as you may know, we are free of charge, so you didn't have to spend any penny to join our community, and then this is young empowerment. Okay, as you may aware, we are having three classes. The first class is recent Tuesday class. In this class, we focus on the speaking. So if you are eager to learn more to speak, to be more confident to speak, you can join this class. And this class starts at 7. And in this class, we will focus on the speaking practice, for example, from debates, speech, or interview. And then the following day, like we have today, we have a Britzone Wednesday class where we focus on four aspects of language, start from listening, speaking, reading, and also writing. This class also starts at 7. And then the last class is Britzone Saturday class when we bring up some more diverse and various topics uh, that will inspire you to learn this more. And then this class starts at 11 a.m. Okay, so don't forget to follow our social media. All is at a Britzone ID from the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then also the YouTube. So please stay tuned to our social media because we will
Jadi
many
ini
info
satu
there.
paket sushi ini
Okay.
tuh dapat 8 biji, 8 sushi cuma 35.000.
I'm sorry, guys. For those of you who just arrived, I think
Please mute yourself ya.
yeah, please mute yeah. Okay, so as we may know that prison is a non-profit community, so we merely we fund our community based on the funding that we conducted internally. We have BC Merch and also BC Merch. Unfortunately, because we have online class, so we cannot sell the special food in the BC Merch. So let's focus on the BC Merch. So here are our newest items on the BC merch. Very cute items, very cute, very chic, very young. So don't forget to buy this to support our beloved song. We have what is it? We have masks, we have T-shirt, we have other stuff as well. So please go check them out, buy our items if you are a love Britzone. Okay, Britzone are supported by first a Camdic Library where we usually held our offline class. So you can sign up for become a member there. So you are eligible to borrow some incredible collections there. And then we also supported by Atmago. It's basically a social platform. It's called Warga Bantu Warga. You can download it on Apple Store or Google Play. So please download this amazing app as well. Okay. So this is our tradition. This is our tradition. The first is taking picture together before we end the class, and then don't forget to submit your feedback through this link, bit.ly/Britzone virtual feedback. So we will appreciate your feedback and input. Okay, I think that's all. I think that's all for the little announcements. I know you are curious to see the material for our amazing conductor. Let me check whether she's ready. Okay. Sabrina, are you ready to start the class?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, so please give it up for our conductor, Sabrina. Time is yours.
Thank you, Danny. Am I audible? I'll take that as
Sure.
a yes. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, good evening, fellow Britzoners, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sabrina, and today I will deliver a session about public speaking for introverts. Can you please go to the next slide? Okay, so my first presentation experience at work, I had a focus group discussion with my teammates before. And my teammates, they were very enthusiastic in coming up with suggestions, ideas, and solutions, and they even debated with each other perspectives. The discussion went very interactive. As for myself, me, being the introverted person that I struggled to voice my mind. Partly because my extroverted teammates tended to dominate the whole conversation, but mostly, and this is my own fault, is because I hesitated to speak. But then, at the end of the day, when we had to deliver our presentation, I actually nailed it. I did it so good that one of my supervisors came up to me after the discussion, and then he expressed how impressed he was towards my performance. He said that he didn't believe that he could see me being very confident and eloquent presenting something in front of the whole office. Well, a rather funny compliment, but I will take that. Thank you very much. He said that in every day I seem to be more like a very quiet and reserved person, so he didn't believe it. So ladies and gentlemen and fellow Britzoners, as you know, today our team is public speaking for introverts. Now I see there are 49 people here and mostly they are unmuted. So I would like to know, my fellow introverts out there, if you feel like an introvert, please type number 1 on the chat box. Type number 1 so that I can see how many of you are the self-proclaimed introverts. Okay, we see some. We're getting more. Not so many. Okay, we still have some. Okay, nice. How about, do we have any extroverts here? Please type 2 if you feel like you are an extrovert. Anyone? Type 2. Number 2. Nobody? Nobody type? Okay, we have some. Wow, Toby, Alfinurul, we have some people who feel like they're an extrovert person. Okay, nice. So today, whether you are an introvert or an extrovert or even an ambivert, or you are somewhere in between near the spectrum, it is okay for you to be here, because today my aim or my expectation or my goal is to give motivation for people and to give them tips on how to overcome their fear of public speaking. Next. 1 or 2. Okay, nice. Maybe it's an ambivert. Well, this is introverts versus extroverts. I myself identify as an introvert. I find strength in reserve. I enjoy solitude moments with myself by watching romantic comedies and sipping iced coffee. And I find outside stimuli, too much outside stimuli like noises, people, and crowd to drain out my energy. Nevertheless, introverts are well known to be an active listener, a good listener, and they tend to think and analyze sometimes too much before they speak. And that is why Dr. Michelle Dickinson mentioned that many of introverts out there are actually the thinkers, which is something good. How about extroverts? We had some extroverts here, or an ambivert, while extroverts find energy from the crowds. They enjoy quality time with others to recharge their energy. And they also tend to be more talkative. They like being the center of attention. And this, the last one, is something that many introverts find to be an act of sinful. Well, I have a funny story actually at work. Another story at my work. So one day, my human resource manager sent me an email, which consists of feedback from my coworkers. So this was part of the HR's program in which everyone get a chance to send feedback or strengths and weaknesses to each other. And at that time, it was my turn to get a feedback. And how surprising it was when I found out that most of my coworkers think that being an introvert is actually a weakness. Well, that was, upsetting. In fact, many people or our society tends to think that they appreciate and recognize signs of extroversion as a strength, while in fact, introverts and extroverts are great in their own ways. Next. Since we are talking about public speaking today, let's just acknowledge that, especially for introverts, speaking in front of public can be a very daunting experience. I can tell it by my own experience. Now, if you are an introvert and you feel like you are afraid of public speaking or you feel nervous before you have to deliver a presentation, don't worry, you are not alone. In fact, according to National of Institution of Mental Health in 2013, 74% of population are afraid of public speaking. That means the majority of people. Maybe some of the extroverts also have these difficulties in speaking in front of public. So you're not alone. Don't worry. We are all in this together. Next. And if we analyze further, what actually makes an individual afraid of public speaking? Especially me as an introvert. Well, I have always been the most quiet person in every class that I attended, starting from primary school until university. I never dared to raise my hand or answer the question when the teacher came up with a question. I always whispered silently, or I sometimes just look at my feet when I have to come up to the class and say something. And these are what worry me when I have to speak in front of people. These are the typical what ifs. What if I cannot impress the audience? What if I don't know the answer? What if I say something wrong? Well, I suggest you, when you deal with these typical what ifs, you have to change your mindset so that you can minimize the sense of nervousness that you have to deal with later before you deliver a speech. So let's just answer it one by one. First, what if? What if I cannot impress the audience? Well, let's just think it this way. Remember, when you deliver a speech or when you do a public speaking, remember that you are doing the audience a favor. You serve them. Stop thinking that the audience are people you need to entertain or those are the people who will judge you or evaluate you. No, you are doing the audience a favor. You are giving information and sharing your knowledge. So you don't need to get worried whether you can impress them or not. It is okay. And next, what if I don't know the answer? Well, nobody knows everything and anyone knows something. So my suggestion is to acknowledge that you don't know and say perhaps, okay, I don't know how to answer your question, but then I will try to look it up and come back to you. It is okay to not know something. Or better,
As of now, in all these years, what you
to make
see
things
education
more interactive, perhaps you can also throw the question to the audience. Make it interactive. That would be nice.
in school.
And last but not least is, what if I say something wrong? Well, it is okay. People make mistakes anyway. You're not in courtroom. You're on your stage, your own stage. So it is okay to make mistakes. Next. So these are the typical what ifs. Set your mindset to be like that in order to minimize the sense of nervousness. Now, Malcolm Gladwell, a Canadian journalist, said that speaking is not an act of extroversion. It is a performance. And many performers out there are hugely introverted. So if you're an introvert and you want to learn further about public speaking, don't worry, don't hesitate, you can do it. Look at me, I have always been the most quiet person in every class that I attended, but then I can speak right now. So remember, speaking is not an act of extroversion. Next. And unfortunately, for some introverts out there, or perhaps extroverts too, or even ambiverts, they tend to avoid this fear by avoiding public speaking at all. They just run away. Well, you're missing out. What are you missing out? First, actually, by learning public speaking, it can help you to build your career, especially if your career depends heavily on a presentation or pitching, or you have to communicate with your clients. And in long term, it can help you to gain more confidence. I had always been a shy girl back then, but then slowly, by delivering a speech in front of people, I gained more confidence. Usually I was even afraid of communicating with guys, but now I can talk casually with them. And then third, it can open up more opportunities for you. I don't know, in organizations, contests, or anything. It also let you to express yourself and even many more. Next. Well, it might be difficult to believe, but these are my own experience after learning public speaking for 3 years. I started my journey learning public speaking in 2016 when I joined a public speaking community that only consists of, just several people, 10 until 15 or 20 people. So it was a small circle, but then I tried to learn consistently. I delivered speech regularly, I practiced, I receive feedbacks, and I evaluate each other. And that is why after 3 years, these are what I gained. First, I think I become a more confident person in general. Second, it opens up more leadership opportunities at work and outside of my work. Like sometimes my HR asks me to organize classes, English classes mostly, or even I was offered some leadership opportunities. Also in my organizations right now, I'm a Toastmaster, and I sometimes being offered to partake some roles in Toastmasters. Number three, I was also being offered to be a judge for speech contests in universities. Wow, side job maybe. So my skill in public speaking opens up more opportunities for me. And fourth, I also won some speech contests, just small one, but I also met very amazing contestants out there and I learned from them. Last but not least, this is my third time speaking in Britzone. And this is because I constantly try to learn public speaking and I'm loving it. I'm loving this moment. Next. So I can do this. Why can't you? Next. Now, if I, as an example, is not strong enough as a motivation for you to learn public speaking. Well, look at these famous people, great speakers who are also introverts. There is Susan Cain, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett. They are introverts, but then they learn how to deliver speech. They learn public speaking. Warren Buffett even take classes, public speaking classes, so that he can speak more comfortable in front of audience. Next. Now, you're introvert, or you're extrovert, or you're an ambivert, it's okay. You want to learn public speaking further. You want to minimize the sense of nervousness. What to do? These are the tips. What to do, the practice. The key here is practice. If I just came to a public speaking class or a training class that teaches me public speaking, but then I stop practicing, well, that will end up just right there. So the key here is practice. My suggestion is start with very small doses. Find a small group of people to practice. Don't jump into a large crowds immediately. Well, you might get inspired by the session and then tomorrow you contact Britzone. I want to take a session. I want to conduct a class, being a conductor. Well, it is okay. But my suggestion, especially if you are still having difficulties with nervousness, is to start with very small doses. I myself did that. I started with only 10 until 15 people, delivering speech constantly in front of them. And then I move on to a larger audience. And now there are 55 people here. Well, that's quite a lot. So start with very small doses first. Baby step. And next, rehearse yourself out loud. Rehearse yourself out loud as if the audience was in front of you when you were practicing. Record yourself if possible. I know that it could be embarrassing, but then after that, you can see what you can do to improve. I myself, before I delivered this session, I had to rehearse myself out loud. And remember, prepare, practice, practice, practice. Preparation is your best weapon to minimize nervousness. Practice doesn't make perfect. I disagree with that. Practice makes permanent. So remember to always prepare, practice, practice. Next, there is an interesting quote here. Don't spend 10 minutes or 10 hours preparing a talk. Spend 10 weeks or 10 months, better still, 10 years. Well, this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but the point is preparation is essential when you want to master a public speaking. Next. Yes, you can get a slide. I think one of the committees of Britzone will share it later. Now, you know, in order to minimize your sense of nervousness, you need to practice and prepare yourself to the best of your ability. But then how about the content? What should I do to prepare my content in order to minimize the nervousness? Well, first of all, use your own personal stories. Well, I do recommend you to also research things on Google, add more materials, perhaps interviews from books, journals. But then again, by using your own personal stories that you know by your own heart, that will add more confidence. I also always slip some of my personal stories in every slide that I deliver in order to add more authenticity. That will also add more authenticity. So use your own personal story. Also, this is a very common question. Which one should I do? Use a whole draft or use an outline or some points? Well, the answer is you decide. Which one do you think is more comfortable? I know some great speakers out there who prepare the exact same words and sentences every time they deliver their speeches, or they adjust themselves along the way. But I also know some people who, before they come up to contest, they didn't prepare anything. So, you decide which one you think more comfortable with yourself. And the third one is This is by Dr. Michelle Dickinson. Emphasize your first line, or basically your opening, because your opening is what captured the audience attention. It is that important. Next. Also, Dr. Michelle Dickinson recommends that if you don't think that you can deliver your opening very well or in a very confident way, then she recommends you to record it and then play it just for the opening. The rest you can always speak it by yourself. Now that's about content. How about the delivery? Well, these are some of the tips. First, be yourself. Stop comparing yourself with other great speakers. Be yourself, be authentic. Just stop comparing yourself with your friends, with your peers, or with even great speakers out there like Michelle Obama, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. Well, they are on another level. And just because you don't speak in their ways doesn't mean that you are not as good as them. You have your own ways. You have your own styles. So be yourself and make yourself comfortable. By being that, you can also be more confident later when you deliver your speech. But if you want to act it out, spice things up a little bit, it is okay. Because remember, public speaking is a performance. So you want to act it out, you want to exaggerate, it's okay. Just act it out as much as you want. And don't forget to always get excited about your talk, because people will notice if you don't seem to be interested in your talk or in your session, or you seem to be, you want to get over with the presentation. They will notice. They will see by the way you speak, by the way your hand gestures or body movements, and then it will be contagious. People will also get less interested in what you are saying. So get excited and change the way you see the audience. Well, again, my favorite speaker, who is also an introvert, Dr. Michelle Dickinson, she imagines the audience like kittens, small cats. Small cats who are harmless and they won't do anything to her. As for myself, I imagine you guys, the 54 people here, as my friends, because I don't feel nervous when I have to talk with my own friend. I feel liberated and more free to speak. So I imagine yourself here as my own friends. Nothing to worry about. Yes, of course, I still face some nervousness, but then that's how you do it. And last but not least, well, some speakers said if you are getting nervous when you have to face the audience into their eyes, well, their suggestion is for you not to look into their eyes, but then into their head or maybe their ears. This is something that you can also apply if you feel like it is comfortable with you. But then for me, I would like to see into their eyes. Unfortunately, right now we are in online settings, so I cannot look at your eyes one by one. You will also not notice when I make an eye contact, but then in an offline class, I will try to look into their eyes. They will notice it too when you make an eye contact. But if you're having difficulties in doing that, if you think that makes you nervous, that my suggestion is try slowly by looking into their ears or even their head. And of course, avoid looking up and down or even to your feet or shoes. Next. Now, how about the nervousness? I already did everything you told me, Ka. I already prepared, rehearsed myself. I learned the techniques, the delivery. I prepared my content to the best of my ability, but I still feel nervous. Well, it's okay. Even I myself feel nervous right now. So everyone feels nervous. Just like I said, 74 of the population, they feel nervous or they fear public speaking. So it is okay to feel nervous. But what do you need to do to minimize that sense of nervousness? First, maybe you can do like shake out your body, shift back and forth, talk with your tongue out. This is a little bit silly, I know. Some people also yawn. I don't know if that technique works for, it doesn't work for me. You can also smile, or maybe save the energy by being alone before you are presenting yourself in front of the audience. It works different from one to another. You just need to find yourself, or you can also try one of these ways. When I had to participate in a speech contest, what I did was I tried to rehearse out loud, and I tried to talk with my tongue out and shake my body to let the blood flows to every part of my body. And it kind of worked. Next. Are you still nervous? Well, it's okay. Shawn Mendes, our favorite singer, said that nervous means that you care. It means that you care about what you presented. It means that you are trying your best. So it is okay if you are nervous. Just practice best. And my last message to every one of you, each one of you, especially the introverts, don't be embarrassed by being an introvert. Being an introvert is powerful. Being an introvert is not a weakness. And being an introvert, you can still nail your presentation. So if Sabrina, an introverted person that I am right now, who had always been the most quiet person in every class that I attended, can learn public speaking and gain more confidence from it, so can you. So please keep practicing. Next. Yes, that's all from me. Good luck for your journey. And that's all my presentation for now. Thank you, everyone. Now we can go to the next slide. That might be the end of my presentation, my tips and tricks, and my personal stories, but I want you to practice immediately. I want you to speak. I have a focus group discussion, just like what I did, to try to apply the insights and knowledge of what I just delivered. So we will have, I think, seven groups, right? And each group will be led by a facilitator, and they will answer each of these questions. Different question for every group. Okay, maybe I will give the control back to Danny as the MC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kak Sabrina, for very insightful and powerful message. Yeah. So, what about we put our knowledge into practice, right? Let's practice. Like, I know probably we don't have any much time to prepare. Let's practice. I think our beloved host can start the breaking room now and let your facilitator inform you what to do in your group session. Okay, guys. Okay. Good luck in your group discussion. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Your question that you should answer has been written the number, yeah, on the breakout room along with the facilitator's name. For example, for the first question, is facilitated by Raki, and then there also number one, so one Raki. So you know what question that you should answer. Thank you.
Halo Kak Sabrina. I think since we are live, since we live on YouTube, we can, if we have some questions, from YouTube we can address or we can answer right now while waiting our friends to practice their speech. How about that?
Okay. Okay then, sure.
Okay, do we have any questions, Dick, from our friends from YouTube? Do you have any questions or any comments or anything?
Yeah, there are two comments on YouTube.
Okay.
First from Deana Seka. She says, great present.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah,
for your comment.
yeah, and
Thank
then
you there.
from Thomas Alfiandes, yeah, he replies, yes, because she practiced and prepared perhaps more than 2 weeks.
Thank you, Pak
Thomas,
Thomas.
Thank
yeah.
you. Okay, so okay, so I think since we are still waiting for our friends to practice, before I think if you are curious to look around each group how the discussion goes down, we can have like a little chit chat to say hello to our online audience on YouTube. How about that?
Sure, sure. How are we
Okay.
gonna do that?
Okay, so I think since like you mentioned, like you have a favorite speaker. What was his name? I your favorite speaker and why you admire this speaker so much. What makes you inspired by them?
Well, I'm actually inspired by many speakers, my peers, my friends, even Thomas Alfiandes, who just commented on YouTube. He's also,
Okay.
yeah, my friend, a Toastmaster. Thank you, Pak
Okay.
Thomas. Didn't realize you were watching.
Okay.
I'm inspired by my friends. As for well-known figure, I think Michelle Obama is one of the women who inspired me a lot. She just, she just speak very eloquently. She just, does it very nice. Also, the one I mentioned, Dr. Michelle Nickinson. She is on YouTube too. I think you can
Okay.
try to look it up if you're interested.
Okay.
She's actually a scientist, but then she started to learn public speaking, an introvert she is. Well, she gave a lot of tips on how to master public speaking, especially if you are an introvert.
So I'm a little bit curious about how you prepare your material for your speech. How did you outline your material?
Okay, thank you, Danny. First thing first, I think personal stories, personal experience is very important when I try to deliver something, a session, or even any kind of speeches. So, personal experience, I will try to get my personal experience on my speech, you know, slip things in every possible slide if possible, but I also try to research things like the statistic one. The one is I try to research things online, on articles, on journals, on interviews, or even in TED talks in Dr. Michelle and Dickinson's talk. She also inspired me very much, so from a lot of things actually. And then I started to create my presentation, my PowerPoints, and I rehearsed several times.
So I mean, before we doing the presentation, what is the typical timing you need in terms of the practice in order to have maximum or the best outcome? How long it takes to do the practice?
I think the best, I agree with Pat Thomas Alfiandes. 2 weeks at least is what needed.
2 weeks, yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't have much time. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, just like creating or preparing my slide, it already took around 3 hours. So I would like to suggest you, if you have the opportunities to speak in front of people, prepare yourself like 5 times with the draft, and you can adjust the draft along the way, and 5 times without the draft. Yes, just
So
the
yeah.
yes, sorry. The quote that I presented about preparation is actually true. Preparation
Yeah.
is essentially important for your speech later. It will minimize your sense of nervousness. You might still get nervous though, but at least you don't turn from nervous to crazy. You turn from calm to nervous.
Yeah.
Okay, we have question ya.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead, Dika.
from Mr. Thomas again. He asks, how can train teenager to be public speaker like you, Miss Sabrina?
Well,
Question.
unfortunately, good question. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, I learned public speaking when I was no longer a teenager. Uh, but well, I guess practice. It's still important. Practice, practice, practice. Maybe Pak Thomas want to, maybe he wants to help his kid to practice public speaking. But my suggestion for you is practice, practice, practice. Oh yeah, when I joined my public speaking community that I'm currently in right now, I was still a final year student and I googled things up and I found this public speaking community, but then I felt hesitate. I had this hesitation to join because I felt like there will be young professionals while I was just a final year student who owned nothing. So my suggestion for you is maybe start with very small doses with people you are kind of familiar with people around your age so that you can, grow your confidence level. So I found this public speaking community in a university in UI, actually, Universitas Indonesia Toastmasters Club. Well, shout out to my friends at the Toastmasters Club. Yeah, so I joined there and I found very positive people there who helped me and give me feedback along the way. And, it was a very good experience for me. And I've learned in Toastmasters in my public speaking community that I'm in right now for almost 4 years, 3 years actually, 3 years, almost four. So I'll keep practicing, practice, practice, practice.
So
Yeah.
again, yeah, practice plays a huge role in terms of improving our skills and how we deal with you know nervousness ya kayak because yeah,
Yeah,
after takes a lot of practice probably we can control and we understand how to navigate our fear or our worriness, right?
right, correct.
Do we have any more questions, Dika, from our YouTube? Or still
Not
wait?
yet.
Okay, so for those of you guys who can make to our online sessions, you can drop your question on our YouTube, and we will try our best to address the questions and hopefully can give you some insight about how to be more fluent and better public speaker if you are introvert or extrovert or even ambivert. So who your I mean, which one category that you are in right now? So another question. Do you have any questions, Tika, for our conductor?
Oh yeah, Danny, sorry, what
Yeah.
time the FGD should be dismissed?
I think since 20 minutes we started at 7:33, so I think at 7:50 7:50 I think it will be enough. 7:50.
7:50. Okay, okay.
Yeah, 7:50.
7:50. But
Yeah.
for the latest 7:55 ya.
No, I think 7:53 is the latest.
53 ya. Okay, okay.
53. It will be the exact 20 minutes.
Exact 20 minutes. Okay, all right.
So
Mm,
I think I'm just gonna share my own experience. I think I have some people who have to deal with stuttering. It is hard for them to initiate or start the speech, or when they talk in front of public, it's hard for them to speak uh, smoothly. This is my experience, I think it's I had so many experience that I felt like I stuttered when I was about to start my speech, and I don't know like how it and it made me even nervous. That's why I think I couldn't nail the presentations or the speech because I failed in the very beginning of my speech because I was like stuttered. So how, I mean, do you have any suggestions or something?
So like stuttering.
Yeah, like so like you know, like especially when the like assalamualaikum, like we normally start with that, right? And for me it's for vowel it's hard to like it's like it's hard, it's a lot harder than the consonant uh you know, words.
Okay. It's interesting, Danny, because when I
Yeah,
started to learn public speaking for the very first time and I had to
yeah,
deliver a speech, only 1 until 2 minutes impromptu speech, I actually created unnecessary words or, you know, being stuttered for at least 20 times in less than 2 minutes. So I
really for
experienced this.
20.
Yes,
Okay, okay,
for around 2 minutes, I think 1 until 2 minutes. I
yeah,
had like more than 20 unnecessary words, such as or even stuttering. So
yeah,
for first timers, it's normal, and I think I have come to this point because I keep practicing. So the key word here is actually practice, 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 and if I can have some suggestion, if you want to minimize those, getting stuttered or stumble here and there in your talk, is perhaps have some people of another person to note down your hesitation words, your unnecessary words, your stuttering, and then you keep delivering speeches from time to time, and then you will see the progress. Yes. So that's
again,
what,
yeah,
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 practice
yeah,
because
yeah.
I think I met some people who had the same experience like it, where we started for some reason like before we was like we were fine, we were good, but for some reason when we like a second before we started our speeches or our presentation, we just that stuttering mood just right on, just spot on. Like it was, oh my god, it made us so nervous, and it affect the whole presentation since we were like, I think I'm not gonna nail this one. Yeah. So good tips, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to ask.
yeah,
I want to
go
ask.
ahead.
Okay, Miss Sabrina, are you graduated from UI ya?
No, I'm actually not. I'm
Oh,
from UIN, Universitas
OIN.
Islam Negeri Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta. Yeah,
Oh,
but then I actually try to look things up, search public speaking communities, and unfortunately my uni at that time didn't have that, but UI has that. So I joined UI Toastmasters Club, and it's been a wonderful experience being a member there.
Dick, I'm sorry,
yeah.
we have Carissa. Should we assign her to the group?
Already. Actually, she has already assigned on Septian's
Oh,
group.
okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's written not joined due to her connection,
Okay.
maybe.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
what was the question,
The
Aditi?
question. Um, you said that you are an introvert. What
Yes.
is your biggest, yeah, your biggest threat as an introvert when you speak up, when you want to saying something?
Okay. Thank you for the question. I think it's a good one. Well, actually, before, not only that I had these difficulties of speaking in front of people, but I also had the difficulties to speak to other people one by one, especially with guys. Yeah, I felt nervous. I couldn't even look into their eyes. I would stutter and stumble, or even in a small focus group discussion, I could not deliver my ideas very well. I even would stutter and stumble. So I even had that kind of difficulty back then. And along the way, I started to, like I said, practice, find a small circle of people who can help me along the way to deliver speeches, if I with my speeches, count down my unnecessary words so that I can improve from time to time. And as an introvert, I think first thing first, what makes it different is, my level of confidence is not like those people out there who are just, ready to put themselves out there and just speak. I saw a lot of my friends and my peers who were very confident in speaking. They were not even very prepared. They just came up and, um, they joke, they threw some jokes, and they seemed to be very confident. But I myself, I had to prepare very detailed. I had to prepare every word and sentence. I had to spend hours rehearsing. So I think, and especially just mentioned by Dr. Michelle Nickinson, again, I'm referring to her. She said that being an introvert, you have the plus point of being a deep thinker. So we always try to, many of us, I think, try to analyze and think things deeper. So I guess that's it. We need more times to prepare ourselves in order to minimize that sense of nervousness. That's what I think.
Yeah, because as an introvert, yeah, you should be deep thinker, yeah, and you should, yeah, prepare more and more skeptical, yeah, for every word that comes out from your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very inspirative, Sabrina. Thank you for the answer.
You're very
And I
welcome.
think yeah, and I think the for the like in terms of like public speaking for the introvert, we can relate in so many ways with the king speech.
Oh yeah.
If second right the title for the movie like King's Speech for the
Yeah.
because he started issue right and like finally he was able to conquer and defeat his own fear right by practicing and practicing.
Sorry, I must dismiss the FGD, yeah.
Okay.
I think 2 minutes still 51
Huh?
oh,
Okay, ini already nih. Rama has arrived.
finished. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so we
Okay.
are with the main session ya Kak Sabrina ya. So thank you guys for our lovely viewers on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining our session as well. So yeah. If you have any comments, don't forget to drop your questions because we're still running this class. So welcome back guys to our main session. I hope your discussion went well and I hope that you can practice your speech in the group and you can apply and implement the tricks, the tips that our conductor has given to you. And then I think for the next session, we will hear some stories, some little practice from each group. So I think your facilitator has already told you that each group will has one representative to present their discussion. So we can learn together because each group has a different questions, right? So Okay, I think Dika, do we still have any more members to come or?
Still we have 48. Maybe it's, about 5 or 6 people still on the way.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I think we will wait for another 1 or 2 minutes, yeah, before we start our another session. Okay. Okay, Dika, I think we are already in here, yeah. Or do we still have another members to join? Okay, I think
Sorry,
that's
Danny.
it.
What?
Yeah, I think all the members are already in the main session, right? All the members. Because the numbers is not adding up, so I think
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
it's okay. Okay,
Yeah. Start
okay,
now.
guys. Okay, so let's hear some stories, some outcomes of each group discussion, and each group will be represented by one person. And okay, let's hear from the sixth group. Who's the facilitator for the sixth group?
Okay, well, in my group there are two people, but
Okay.
so from introvert and extrovert. That's okay.
Yeah.
1 minute, one
Okay.
person. I have to talk to them. Okay, Sophie,
Okay,
I think
so-
you can start, Sophie.
Okay.
Okay.
Sophie, time is
So-
yours.
Okay. So the question was about what did I do after I doing my presentation. So from me as an introvert side, usually I evaluate myself first. So sometimes after I'm done with my presentation, I'm just take a deep breath and then I'm sit alone. So and start to thinking, am I doing a mistake or maybe how's my presentation? And yeah, mostly just try to make myself relax first because after I talk too much in front of the people, I need to recharge my energy back again and evaluate myself. I think
Okay,
that's
thank
all.
you. Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you, Sophie.
Benene,
Yeah.
Benene, your turn.
Sorry, for me as an extrovert one, and after I did my presentation, I will gather with my friends and then ask them how was my performance, evaluate from them, I'm listening my friends evaluate my performance, because I believe my friends will give a good feedback for me. I think something like that. Yeah. Now, because it can refuel my energy, talk with my friends, and then, laughing, and then, think about my performance, and then, okay, I will do, if I did something wrong, and then, I will do it better for the next. Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Benene.
Yeah.
So thank you for Ani's group. Yeah. So actually, indeed, it's correct that introvert and extrovert has a different approach after they did the speech, right? And I mean, there's nothing better from one another. It's just that makes work. That's what works for you, right? Okay, thank you for Ani's group. Okay, I think I would like to ask Sabrina first. Kak, can we pick the number randomly or we need to make it in order?
You can pick randomly, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. Let's move on to the top. Number is number one. Who's on the number one group? I think Raki, is that you?
Yes, that's my group.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I decided to choose Alvin Nurul as our spokesperson. So Alvinoro,
Okay.
the stage is yours. Good luck.
Okay, thank you. So for the first group, if I'm not mistaken, the question is what makes you afraid in public speaking? Yeah, Mr. Aki. Nah, so our discussion is
Yeah.
about this, and after we discuss together with our friends, so we find the first is like we hesitate when we have to say something in front of people, because when we have faced them all, so we get blank in our brain, so we don't know how to say, how to deliver our speech, and sometimes we afraid with our vocabulary, because when we have to speak English in front of people, of course we nervous, and then sometimes we forgot the vocabulary or the synonyms of this word. So this kind of what makes us really afraid with the public speaking. And one of them also about our pronunciation. It's about our hesitate, because our pronunciation, our vocabulary. So after that, we hesitate when we face with so many people over there. But after that, after discussion, so we have the problem solved too. Practice makes perfect. We have to practice, practice, and practice if we want to really confident to speak English in front of people. That's all from our discussion in the first group.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Alfi, for your ideas. So again, yeah, the first group also agreed that practice makes perfect. Okay, very good one. So after we hear about the what did you do after you're doing your speech? Let's hear what did you do before you're doing your speech. So let's move on to the fifth group. Fifth group, you're up next. Who's the team? Whose team is this? Fifth group.
Robbie's team.
Okay, Robbie. Okay, Robbie's team.
Yo,
Come on.
I choose Pradita.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here.
Pradita. Yeah, Pradita. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so in group 5, we describe about how we feel before speaking in front of many people, and most of us think that we feel nervous. And I think it's not only for introverts, but extroverts as well may feel nervous because, but I think we think that it is doubled when we are introverts. So the most dominant feeling that we have before giving a speech in front of many people is the nervousness. So we discussed about how to overcome it. One of the biggest point is that we have to change the conversation in our mind, because sometimes this nervous feeling or the fear is just something that we have in our mind. So I think that's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pradita, for sharing your thought and opinion, and also representing your group. So let's move on to group number 3. We have Vidya groups. You can take over.
Yeah, thank you, Danny.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Danny. We have discussed about the topic how do you practice public speaking in this whole time, and I choose Dian Saputra as our representative. Dian Saputra,
Okay,
I
let's
think you
let
can
Dian.
deliver it.
Dian Saputra, you can practice your speech now.
Yeah, I'm
2
sorry.
minutes.
I always forget to unmute.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Well, our group, I think we have pretty much similar ways to practice our public speaking skill the whole time. We, we practice in front of the mirror to see if our gesture is appropriate, and then to see our facial expression, because when we speak in front of public, we don't only stand there in front of the public and then read our slides, but also we have to use our gesture to make it more convincing for the audience. And then we also use our voice recorder to see if our intonation is good enough, and then our pronunciation is good enough, and do we speak clearly. And also, some of us also record our performance during the public speaking to as an evaluation to know in which part we have to improve. Yeah, I think that's what we discussed about. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dian.
Dian.
Yeah, I think yeah. Another good advice from the group number 3 is that use your mirror for practicing, not only for taking your selfie, right? So let's use mirror for better use. Okay, let's move on to the second group. Here we have second group. Second group, I think
It's my group.
Rama. Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Rama.
Okay. Would you do the honor, Miss Ulin?
All right. The second group, how often do you use public speaking skill in real life? So, we from the second group, pretty much, we often use our public speaking skill, but mostly for work or for study, not for daily life. So, for example, we use it when we have a meeting or when we have to do a presentation, or for our friend who is a teacher. She uses it whenever she teaches in the class. So, but most of us don't really use it in daily life. Maybe because most of us from group 2 are introverts. So, yeah, we use it mainly for work or for study. That's all.
Is that okay? Thank you, Mbak Ulin, for answering this question number 2. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next questions. Questions number 4. Questions number 4 is, what is your target in learning public speaking? So whose group is this?
Me, Putri.
Putri, go ahead, Put.
Okay, thank you, Kak Dani, for the opportunity. So the question for my team was, what is your target in learning public speaking? I think every member of my team has different target, but if I have to choose for the representative, maybe I want to choose Dila to represent our team. Dila, are you there?
Wow, thank you, Putri.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
So, maybe I can share first some targets that were comfy in the what's in the small group. There are some who want to speak English better, and there are some also want to inspire their audience because they're teachers and lecturers. But my target is to overcome my fear in public speaking in general, in any language I can speak. And because maybe someday I can be a good public speaker, just like Miss Sabrina. You're doing an impressive presentation back then. That's my target, and some from the members of the group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dila and Putri from group number 4. So we have covered 6 questions. Now we only have 1 left. Questions number 7. Who are well-known public speakers you aim to be? So this group belongs to, these questions belong to
Septian.
Okay, Septian. Okay, Septian. Okay, Septian. Go ahead, Sep.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dani. So I decided to choose Mr. Toby because he is the most active member in our group. Mr. Toby, are you still here?
Yeah. Hello.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So in our group, the question is like well-known public speaker you aim to be, and most of all, and all of us just say like wonderful name like Steve Jobs, Martin Luther King, and Mr. SBY. And from that, I can like summary, like conclude that they are very different public speaker, like the goals, the style, and like how they deliver the speech. And from there also I can conclude that we have to more be authentic, like we have to be ourselves to be a really good speaker like them. I think yeah, that's all from me and our group.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Thank you so
Toby.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, guys, I think we almost come to an end of our session. Okay. Yeah, I think we almost come to an end to our session. Thank you guys so much for sharing your thought, for joining our class, and we hope that you get something after the session and you can apply what you've learned in your daily life, whether you are still at work or whether you're still at school or wherever you are right now, and hopefully it will give some added value for yourself. Thank you for coming. I think for Kak Sabrina, is there any I don't know testimony or something that you would like to add before we end the session?
Well, thank you, Danny. I hope this session can help you to motivate yourself and give some just little bit tips and tricks so that you can learn further in public speaking. Don't just lose motivation even though you're an introvert, extrovert, or even ambivert. Just keep practicing. You'll get there somehow. Yeah. So good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Danny, are you here?
Okay, Danny
Maybe
seems missing ya due to his connection. Maybe right now we can start Q&A session, Sabrina.
Okay, sure. Do we
Yeah,
still have time?
Yeah, one person, one question. Yeah. So if you want to ask, please raise your hand. Raise your hand in the raise hand feature. Okay. From Cesar.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, take your time.
I'm still afraid if I talk to people. Still afraid if I see their eyes. So, how manage it?
So thank you, Cesar, for the questions. It was more like an eye contact management. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just like I said, I think some of us feel hesitant to look into the audience eyes. It can be daunting. It can be stressful, to look into their eyes directly. Maybe you're afraid they have some judgments or they look confused. So my suggestion, if you cannot do that yet, well, I think first you can just look into their ears or their head. Switch your focus instead of their eyes, their ears, or their head. Or even when I started learning for the first time, I kind of look at the back of the room. But just don't look at up and down or even your shoes. That will, immediately show that you are kind of nervous. So maybe start first by look into their head and their ears, I mean, and then slowly you can also learn to look into their eyes. Still, I do think that eye contact is important. It's powerful, you know. Your audience can notice if you look into their eyes. Oh my God, he's looking at me, she's looking at me. They will notice it. So I hope that is helpful. Does that
Yeah,
answer your question?
even if I do online meeting, I'm still afraid to look at the camera.
Okay. Sorry, one person, one question ya.
Oh yeah.
Okay, next from Dila Putri.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. Miss Sabrina, I'm curious, what's your method to stop thinking when you're doing a presentation? Because most of the time, my problem is when I present, I think, I'm thinking of being watched. I'm thinking of being assessed, and I'm wondering in my head whether the audience like my presentation, or so many thoughts. So most of the time, it kept me from presenting well. So what's your strategy to stop thinking when presenting? Thank you.
Thank you, Dila. Well, I guess it's again, being nervous and then overthinking, right? I think that when you are going to speak in front of people, again, set a mindset in your head that you are doing this audience or a favor. You are serving them. So you're actually sharing your knowledge and information to them. You help them. Stop thinking that you are trying to entertain them, because we are not stand-up comedians. We are not trying to entertain or make them laugh. No, we're not. Also, stop thinking that they are assessing us. They might be. Truthfully, they might be. But then it's okay. Just go with it. First, when it comes to nervousness, always practice. But then just stop thinking that way. One of the ways, I think some people do this thing. They try to imagine their audience as like, again, kittens or funny things, so that they don't feel the pressure. It's different from one person to another. You might also find your ways. Maybe you can try one of the ways that I presented. Maybe you can try to change your mindset. Try to think that you are doing you're doing your presentation for the audience favor. You're not trying to entertain them or being judged by them. It's okay. Just express yourself and stop overthinking. You're doing good. Just like what I see today, you're actually doing good. So, you're on the way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dila.
Okay, thank you, Dila. And then Pradita.
Okay, thank you, Kak, for the opportunity. Sabrina, I want to ask something. I recognize that you are a Toastmaster, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I think you are very understand about the table topic station. So what I want to ask is, when we are required to speak, to give an impromptu speech, like in the table topic session 1 in Toastmasters, how to manage our mind, how to organize our thoughts that we can pick the message that we want to deliver and deliver it effectively. Because sometimes as an introvert, I think I am an overthinker, and when I required to speak in front of many people and to give impromptu speech, especially, it is very hard for me to pick the message that I want to deliver. So I always feel failed in doing that. So do you have any tips or tricks about that? Thank you.
Thank you, Pradita, for the question. Well, this is table topics or impromptu speech. Yeah, sometimes even in our daily lives, we have this moment when someone asks us a question, or maybe our boss, and then we have limited amount of time to answer the question. So this also applies in real life. So impromptu speech, or being given a question out of sudden. I first of all, for table topics, I think there is a noise. First of all, for table topics, you are actually given an opportunity, 30 seconds to think. So it was not just out of the blue you answer the question. You're actually being given 30 seconds to think, as long as you don't make any movements you're given. So that's the first. And the second one is, I think what is a little bit difficult about table topic session or impromptu speech is that we have to come up with things and still in a structured way. That is difficult. While in prepared speech, we craft our draft, we prepare, we rehearse, we can adjust the draft from time to time. While in impromptu speech, we cannot do that. We only have a very limited amount of time to answer. So first thing first, remember, even in impromptu speech, we always have structure, opening, body, and closing. How to do that? Well, my tips and trick is actually I'm still trying to learn this. By attending many Toastmasters meeting, I at least spend 8 hours per week to practice, visiting clubs to clubs, and it's a blessing in disguise that we are in a pandemic situation, but we can always visit many more clubs online here. So I've been visiting clubs from so many countries, not only in Indonesia, in front of completely new, different people. And the sense of nervousness is actually in a completely new, different level. So it helps me to practice, to get used to it. That's the first. And take the challenge to partake in table topic session. That will help you train your sense of nervousness. And then always try to remember that even in table topic session, there will be always opening, body, and closing. Don't immediately answer the question. Always start with an opening first, but don't repeat the question. Do not repeat the question. That will waste your time. You only have 1 until 2 minutes. Open with an opening, don't immediately answer, and then elaborate your points. Have some examples, not too many because you only have 2 minutes. Have some examples, real life examples mostly. That will be good and more authentic. And then close it by answering your question towards the statement or the topics, and close it with some closing. So that's my suggestion. And other than visiting so many other, clubs or public speaking community to practice your impromptu speech skill, I would also recommend you to look things up, questions on Google. I also do this. So I try to find questions on Google, and then I try to answer it from 1 until 2 minutes with my own stopwatch on my phone. I think that helps me. I hope also that helps you. Thank you for the question, Pradita.
Thank you, Kak.
Okay, guys. Thank you for all the questions. Right now, we have to dismiss our class. So before we end this class, please, Rama, prepare for the photo session.
Okay, I'm ready. So everyone, please turn on your camera and prepare your great pose. Okay, so are you ready, guys? In 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you, guys. We are all done.
Yeah, thank you, Kak Sabrina. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sabrina.
See you next time.
Thank you, Kak Sabrina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you, Kak Sabrina and
Thank you, Sabrina and Britt, so much for all. And
Thank you, Kak
Thank you
Sabrina and
all. Thank you, Kak
Britzone.
Sabrina, for the great talk.
Sukses Kak Sabrina.
Have a great day.
Okay, for the participants, please leave this room, yeah, because we are gonna enter the evaluation session for the committee.
Should I leave the room as well?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, committee and conductor. Okay, please. Sorry if I remove you, yeah. for the participants. Oke, Dani udah
ya finally.
balik lagi.
Aduh. Untung ya dia terakhir.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Dia tadi gue udah back tahu.
Udah.
Welcome.
Udah. Cuman gue pakai HP. Tadi gue jalan dari McD ke kosan karena Oke.
Ya Allah Kak Dani, sampai jalan.
Enggak tahu deket banget, cuman 3 menit kok. It's not that
Jangan-jangan
far.
kosannya dalam McD.
Ya ampun, jangan-jangan ya.
Kos-kosannya dalam McD dong.
Jangan-jangan dia ini ternyata salah satu pegawainya. Kocak gak sih? Okay, please give applause for our beloved conductor.
Yay, Kak
Thank you
Sabrina.
so much.
Thank you so much.
We have so much fun.
Sebelum itu mau disclaimer dulu dong. Kak Sabrina, boleh ya nanti Raki minta kontaknya sama teman-teman di tim Rabu nih, biar Raki bisa ajak juga di.
Oh iya boleh. Iya.
Seru banget tadi soalnya public speaking kan.
Ini masih live ya?
Iya.